Hello everyone, back tuning into the third and final seasonal model roundup for the autumn of 2017. So we're nearly at the end of the journey now for the autumn. We've just got this third and final seasonal model update to do today, and then tomorrow we will release the CanSIPS.com autumn 2017 forecast. So for the final time, we're going to get 11 long-range models together and see what they are all showing for the coming season. Now, very good on with that, just to say that early on today, as always on a Saturday at CanSIPS, we did the weekend forecast, so you can find the video to that here on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a little bit and it's above the polling count. There's also the written version. You can get that from the buttons at the top of the page. Very complex week coming up, low confidence in terms of the detail of the forecast. Anyway, and I'll let you have a look at the weekend forecast and see what you think when you're done with this update, of course. Now, just say this is going to be quite a long update. We've got 11 long-range models to get through, so I'm going to be here for some time. If you can't watch the video all in one go, don't worry. It will be kept on the website indefinitely. It's going to be put onto the autumn updates and forecast page later on today, around 6 o'clock, something like that. There'll be a written report that goes with it as well. So if you can't watch the video all in one go, you can come back and watch the video whenever you want. Also, you can have a look at that written report. So we'll crack on with the final season model roundup for the autumn right now. Just say that the past two updates that we've done both very strongly have been pointing towards a warmer than average autumn with these long range models. On precipitation, we have been a little bit split, although the last update actually went more towards the unsettled side of things for the autumn. But we've had a very strong signal all the way along for a warm autumn. Will we see any regression from that, any backing away from it, and some colder models coming along for today's third and final update? Let's have a look and see. So for the final time for these autumn updates, we're going to start off with the probability forecast in terms of temperature from the Russian model, and we can see that the UK in terms of the probability is in this deep red colour, indicating that the Russian model is predicting, it's forecasting a strong probability of a warmer than average autumn coming up. And by the way, every model that you see in this video is going to take you throughout the whole of the autumn period, covering September through to November. Right, we have a look at precipitation probability from the Russian model, and we can see that if anything is going for quite an unsettled autumn, particularly to the north and west, the probability is for above average rainfall. Further south, it's a little bit on the drier side, perhaps, for southern counties. Maybe some a weak probability of below normal precipitation, but I think we go really with the strong signal further north for it to be wetter than average. It looks like the model wants to have an area of low pressure around Iceland and quite a zonal setup, I would have thought. So that's why the temperatures are above average, but the precipitation is wetter up in the north. Our next model is APEC. Now, I can't show you the 500 millibar height anomaly for the autumn from APEC today, unfortunately, but I can show you the temperature and precipitation anomalies. Now, APEC, the APEC model is a collaboration of various Met agencies, but I think the driver behind this is the South Korean Met agency. It is essentially a South Korean model. So this is the temperature anomaly for the autumn. We can see that APEC is going for above normal temperatures for this autumn. In terms of precipitation, we can see that the signal is weak, but actually it looks quite a bit like the Russian model, really. Northern areas are coming out with above average precipitation. Further south, it looks like it's nearer to normal. Again, I think we are seeing the suggestions there of above average pressure, perhaps a little bit to the south, and below average pressure a little bit to the north. And overall, I say I can't show you the height on me, so I'm only sort of guessing this, but I think overall it's going for a zonal pattern, low pressure to the north and above average pressure down to the south with the APEC model. Our next model is the Brazilian. So this is 500 millibar height anomaly for the autumn from the Brazilian model. Remember, this one does it differently. So blue is extrapolating to high pressure, and red, yellow, orange is extrapolating to low pressure. Most other height anomalies do that the other way around. So you see that the Brazilian model is going for quite a large ridge here to be centred over Central Europe, but it also extends back into a ridge in the Atlantic. So this looks quite settled, actually, I would have thought. It looks like we should be pushing the jet stream up to the north of the country and bringing in quite a lot of dry weather with that. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. We're coming out warmer than average. It looks like we're picking up where the second update and the first update indeed left off, with a very strong signal again, so far anyway, with these models for above average temperatures for this autumn. So the Brazilian model is going for a warmer than average season ahead. Temperature anomalies above average for the autumn. For precipitation, maybe a little bit surprisingly, it looks slightly wetter than average up to the north. You can see where it's drier than average there, the middle part of the Atlantic. That's where we've got a mid-Atlantic ridge. So perhaps a little bit more on the unsettled side of it, if anything, for precipitation. Temperatures very strong, excuse me, very strongly signalled to be above average. Our next model is CanSIPS, so we're going to move northwards from Brazil up to Canada. This is the mean sea level pressure anomaly for the autumn from the CanSIPS model. This is at website tropicaltidbits.com, by the way. You find a link to Tropical Tidbits on the links page. So we see that again we have this area of below average pressure centred over the UK for the autumn. This means sea level pressure anomaly for the autumn. So low pressure is up there. Possibly some sort of ridge out here. It looks like we're doing something a bit like that with the jet stream. That does look like it should be quite unsettled, actually, with below average pressure for the autumn centred over the UK. Temperature anomalies. Now, this one is a little bit cooler. Look at this. We're not significantly warmer than average with CanSIPS. Actually, we're close to average. And to west of Ireland, actually, it is a little bit cooler than average for this autumn. So this one is ever so slightly towards the cooler side of things, albeit only average with those temperature anomalies for the autumn. And then in terms of precipitation anomalies, what we see is, well, it's average again, maybe hinting at being ever so slightly on the wetter than average side. You probably can't make it out all that well. But I think, reading between the lines, we probably have a southerly tracking jet stream, or a slightly southerly tracking jet stream, and we're probably on the cooler and wetter side of things with CanSIPS for this autumn. So this is our first one, actually, that is looking quite cool for the autumn, and also very unsettled. Patel-Peng next. These are the analogues from Patel. So Patel has taken a look at the sea surface temperature anomalies across the world last month, back in July. Then he has taken those sea surface temperature anomalies and sort of compared to past years with a similar type setup, and then created an analogue forecast based on those past years. What Patel is seeing is an unsettled autumn. We've got, again, this is 200 millibar heights. We've got below average heights out to our west, and it looks like we're bringing the jet stream through like that. So that looks quite an unsettled autumn for the UK. You would expect that to be pretty wet. Temperature anomalies with Patel-Peng are coming out warmer than average, above average temperature anomalies for the autumn. Precipitation is coming out quite significantly wetter than average. By the way, Patel-Peng is working under the umbrella of NOAA, so that's why Patel is included within this American section of the seasonal model roundup. So a warm and wet autumn being predicted by Patel-Peng this year. NASA next. This is the experimental NASA model. These are always a little bit difficult to work out. This is 500 millibar heights for the autumn. We've got above average heights here to our north, and then no real area of below average heights, but this looks like it's essentially a trough within the 500 millibar flow sitting to our south. Quite a complicated pattern. You were probably doing something a bit like that with the flow and with the jet stream. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. So we're coming out warmer than average or milder than average, not all that strong deviation. So it's not a very warm or mild autumn, just a little bit milder than average. And then in terms of the precipitation anomaly, so for the far north of the country, it's coming out a little bit drier than average. To the southwest, it's coming out a little bit wetter than average. The signals do look quite weak here from the NASA model. Overall, slightly milder than average, and I think precipitation is probably a little bit up for grabs, but maybe because we're close to a trough, I think, a little bit wetter than average. And then, to finish off, the American section of this season weather roundup, we've got the CFS V2. So this is a 700 millibar height anomaly from the CFS V2, and there's not much to work with. This is a 3-monthly anomaly going from September, October, November. And as I say, not really a huge amount to work with here. So we've just got average heights, really, across the Atlantic and into the UK as well. Not really much help at all. So let's break this down into monthly periods. So this is a 700 millibar height anomaly from CFS V2 for September. It's going for an area of below average heights to be centering over and to the east of the UK. So this looks like it should actually be quite a cool and quite an unsettled autumn from the CFS V2. October, complete flip around, and this is probably why the 3-monthly anomaly is looking so plain, while there's nothing really to see for the 3-monthly anomaly, is because these months are offsetting one another with a lot of flipping going on. So from that unsettled pattern that we have in September, in October we go to quite a strong signal for a ridge here to be centred around the UK and many northwestern parts of Europe as well, probably bringing in east to southeasterly winds, so a lot of dry weather in October. And then into November, complete flip again. And actually, between September and November, you would probably think this should place us on the more unsettled side of things in terms of that 3-monthly 700 millibar height anomaly. But for November, what we've got is a deep trough centred actually to the northeast of the country, and a ridge through the mid-Atlantic, a mid-Atlantic ridge, and we're probably bringing down quite a cool flow from northwesterly direction, maybe even at times being able to open the door to northerly winds. So that could be a more seasonable month there in November. You certainly wouldn't be ruling out some cold snaps, I would have thought, with that one. So let's just have a look at the temperature anomaly from the CFS V2 for this autumn. And as with the 700 millibar height anomaly, very little to be seen here in terms of a temperature signal. So it's coming out pretty much average across the whole of Europe, a little area cooler than average area there around Denmark, and a little bit above average down towards the Balkans. But overall, a very weak signal here in terms of the temperature anomaly for this autumn from the CFS V2. And in terms of the precipitation anomaly, again, it's a weaker signal, I think, than we had particularly last month, when the signal was very strongly for a wetter than average autumn, and also quite a warm autumn as well. I may be wrong about that, my memory is a little bit hazy, but I think the CFS, till quite recently, has been going for a fairly mild and unsettled autumn. Now the signal looks weaker, it's a little bit wetter there across perhaps northern parts of France, the Low Countries, into Germany. But overall, again, not a huge amount to play with from the CFS V2 for this autumn. This is a bit of a back off. It's backed off a bit from what was happening in last month's second update. So not as clear cut for a zonal westerly mild and wet autumn as we've had recently from the CFS V2, which is quite interesting. Next model is the JMA. Now, I haven't got time to go through all of the data that you can get with the JMA seasonal output, but we've already done that video. We did it on Thursday. You can find it on the catch-up page at Vids. So I can tell you that what the JMA is doing for the earlier part of the autumn, it looks quite mild actually, and then maybe something a little bit cooler coming along in November. Also quite an unsettled autumn is being predicted. So in terms of a 3-monthly anomaly, this is the 500 millibar height anomaly for the autumn from the JMA, with below average heights out to the northwest and bringing the jet stream through like that. Remember, this does mask quite a bit of intra-month variation. The temperature anomaly for the autumn with the Japanese model is coming out above average, warmer than average temperatures being signalled again, albeit not a strong signal. And precipitation anomalies are coming out wetter than average. Remember, there's a lot of intra-month variation within these 3-monthly anomalies. The overall wind direction for this autumn is signalled to be westerly, so coming through like that. So that's the reason it's going for quite a mild but also quite an unsettled autumn. JAMSTEC next. This is the temperature anomaly from JAMSTEC for the autumn of 2017. That's coming out really quite significantly above average, not just for the UK, but for many parts of Europe as well. The precipitation anomaly is coming out wetter than average, so a warm and wet autumn is being predicted by the JAMSTEC model. Beijing Climate Centre next. We're at our penultimate model, so I'll be drawing towards the end now. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly from the Beijing Climate Centre for the autumn of 2017. This is a bit different to most of the output we've seen so far. It's quite strongly going for above average heights, ridging over and to the east of the country, and that means that we're bringing in this easterly sort of easterly flow here, easterly wind, which you'd expect to be quite a dry wind. Early in the autumn, that's likely to be quite a warm wind, but if that's still going on in November, of course, it's likely to be much colder. The overall temperature anomaly from the Beijing Climate Centre for the autumn is coming out warmer than average. That's a very strong signal, you have to say, although the CFS has backed off a little bit with that. Overall, this is a very strong signal that we're seeing here from these long-range models again for a warmer than average autumn. And then the precipitation anomaly is coming out drier than average, and that's because we've got a ridge sitting over and to the east of the UK. So a mild, warm and quite dry autumn being predicted there by the Beijing Climate Centre. Our final model is the UK Met Office GLOW C5. This is the mean sea level pressure anomaly for the autumn. It's going for below average pressure to be up to the north of the country, above average pressure down to the south, bringing the flow and the jet stream through the country like that. It means that the UK Met Office model is predicting a milder than average autumn for the UK and for many parts of Europe as well. And the precipitation anomaly, that's coming out generally above average, particularly so to the north and to the west of the country. I can tell you that as we go on, progress on, so we go to the anomalies for October, November, December, and then the anomaly for November, December, January, that zonal signal that we have there, or that very unsettled signal, that intensifies through to the end of the year. So we actually, with the UK Met Office model update this month, finish up into the early winter months with a very, very zonal, westerly type situation being predicted. So that's it for the third and final seasonal roundup for the autumn, and really we've picked up where we left off last month with the temperatures. So most of these models again are going for a significantly warmer than average autumn. That's a very strong signal. The two that are a little bit opposed to that is CanSIPS, which is close to average, and also, perhaps a little bit surprisingly, the CFS V2 is also close to average with the temperatures, and probably backed away a little bit from the warmer than average temperatures of earlier updates. In terms of precipitation, again, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but I think, again, we are overall on the more unsettled side of things with these long-range models. So if we take them all together, we probably have a consensus for a westerly, for a mild, for an unsettled autumn with above average temperatures and probably above average rainfall. Now, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow to see whether I'm in agreement with that, because I'm going to be issuing the gasweathers.com autumn 2017 forecast at website at 10 AM tomorrow. So we're counting down the clock now to the autumn forecast for 2017. And of course, once that's out of the way, the bandwagon will roll on to the season that I know most of you are really interested in, which is the winter. And there'll be a little sneak peek tomorrow for the winter of 2017 after the autumn forecast has been released. I mean, of course, we're off and running with the winter updates. Right, so this video is going to be placed on the autumn updates and forecast page later on today with a written report that goes with it. So come back and have a look at that later on. And come back tomorrow at 10 AM for the final and official gasweathers.com autumn 2017 forecast. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.